All right, so I need you to sing me. Hang on a minute. Where did you go? Okay. So I want you to sing me a song in a country accent about preparing the afternoon show of Gabbin' and Games begin.
I can't sing or perform
Oh,
music,
come
but I can.
on.
I know it would be fun, but how about I help you come up with some lyrics instead?
Why don't you
We can.
just why don't you write me the opening 4 lines of the beginning of the song? Go.
All right, here we go. Well, the sun's setting low. It's time to start the show. Gavin's got his games and he's ready to go. With a mic in his hand and a cowboy hat, it's the afternoon show. Ain't nothing finer than that.
Yeah, that's not happening. Thank you, GPT. Good Lord. Okay, let me do it myself. Hey, it's the show where we. Hey, I think I got it. Let me sing it to you. What do you think? Hey, it's the show.
I love the enthusiasm, but I can't listen to or critique your singing. How about we work on those lyrics together some more?
She doesn't love me anymore. Damn it. What's up, fellas? You're not going to be a mod, Salvador. You know why you're not going to be a mod? Here's the reason. It's just like people who want to be politicians should never be politicians, because it's not a job you should want. It's a job you should feel that calls to you and that it is thrust upon you and the people demand it. Demand it. Welcome to the show. This is the prep show. It's very casual. Not that the normal show is not casual, but this is the super duper casual show. As we search the internet, looking for stories to talk about on this early evening, late afternoon Gabbin' and Games coming up later today. So that's what we're going to do. Like I said yesterday, this is kind of like Christmas for me. Every morning I get up and look at the internet and get a sense of what's happening in the world of games that I love. And games that I don't love. So I figured we would start doing that together. Now, there are some stories from yesterday's show that we have not gotten to yet. I'll just walk you through. I want to talk about some Black Friday deals. I'm saving all of the member Black Friday shopping until the Thanksgiving special on Thursday. But I did want to ask about this Win Game Store, because one of the games I've been wanting to pick up is the new Alone in the Dark, which I know is kind of spotty in reviews, but people who play it say it's actually quite interesting. I'm not saying I'm going to talk about that. I just want to get a sense of if this is a legit store. We might watch a couple of the previews for Secret Level, the new gaming show on Amazon. They've dropped about 5 or 6 40-second trailers for each individual, for some of the individual shows, like Concord is in there, Spelunky's in there, Unreal Tournament is in there. So we might look at that today. I want to try to find some cozy games. They don't have to be cozy, but I want to talk about the Thanksgiving Day special on the mainstream later today about what we're going to do. I think we'll talk a little bit, but I want to find some group games we can all play, just kind of to chill and stuff. So I want to kind of go through that with people, trying to find out what everybody wants to play. I've been thinking about doing Overcooked, but I'm getting mixed signals on if Overcooked 2 is cross-play, because pretty much it's on Game Pass, it's on PS Plus, it's super cheap to buy if you don't have it. So, yeah, it is. Carlos says it's the last time you'll ever see Concord. Maybe true. Maybe true. I have never gone, Richard Joseph, to the Thanksgiving Macy's parade. I have only been to New York City once, actually, and I loved it. It was, as I've said before, it was the only city I've ever arrived in, and you go into the airport, which is not downtown, but once I got into downtown, it's the only city I've ever gotten into that I immediately felt like I was at home, which is weird because, that's just fucking weird. But yeah, it was pretty cool. Hello, Trey Trimble. I am, speaking of, though, one of the Thanksgiving things. Where's the Where is it? Let me see. One of the Thanksgiving Day things I'm thinking about doing are video game parade float balloons that we would make, right? So I'm having AI make some. Here's an Astrobot one. You guys can get a sneak preview to tell me if this is stupid or not. But, you know, I'm trying to find things to do for the Thanksgiving special. So we'll be doing that. I did the problem with Overcooked having crossplay, Carlos, is that some versions do, some versions don't, and then I got to check and see, do all the versions on PS Plus, and I just want to find things that people don't, that if they want to jump in and join us on Thanksgiving and play in the morning, they can, and so it's not as simple as it should be. I grant you. I've made another balloon. Let me show you this one real quick, and then we'll get on with the show. You got to go back and forth between all these fucking programs, because once they realize you are using copyright material. So I have a sweet tooth one. This is the best sweet tooth one I've been able to come up with. So we'll probably go with that one if we end up doing parade float balloons from video games. So I'm working on a Nathan Drake one. I'm working on a sweet tooth one. I'll have about 15 of these for the Jaffe Thanksgiving Day parade is kind of what I'm thinking of doing. But that'll be one of the things we do. But if you guys have any ideas of what you want to see on the Thanksgiving special, which will be Monday, so Thursday morning, before the festivities for most people kick off, this will be happening. So hit me up on this show or in the Discord or wherever you can find me and let me know, hey, Jaffe, I think we should do this, or I think you should make a parade balloon like this, and blah, blah, blah. I really want to do a float. I wanted to do a float that was, Twitter actually has a pretty good thing for that, you know, they'll do copyright stuff. They don't seem to mind, but I wanted to do like but it's really had a hard time with this one. I've had a hard time writing a prompt. Let me see if ChatGPT can write me a prompt for this, and then I'll feed it into the X. I don't want to call it X. The Twitter thing. Here we go. Let me give. Can you write me a prompt to make this image? I want a photorealistic image of a parade in New York City, and the main focus of the image is a float that focuses on the evolution of the God of War video game series. So we would have scenes on the float that would be happening from the very first game in 2005 going all the way up to the most recent game. And we don't have to deal with every single game, but we want to show the evolution of Kratos as a character as the float goes by.
That sounds like a dynamic and epic scene. Here's a prompt for your image. Create a photorealistic image.
Okay, so I'm going to get the prompt. No, give it back. Give it back. Oh, just show it to me.
That sounds like a dynamic and epic scene. Here's a prompt for your image. Create a photorealistic image of a parade in New...
Can you repeat that prompt? I accidentally cut you off and I didn't get the text for it.
Of course. Here's the prompt again. Create a photorealistic image of a parade in New York City, where the main focus is an elaborate float depicting the evolution of the God of War video game series. The float showcases scenes from the first game in 2005 to the most recent game, illustrating the transformation of Kratos as a character. The float moves through the streets, blending iconic landmarks of New York with elements from the games, capturing the excitement of the parade and the epic journey of Kratos.
Okay. I think we're going to end up getting like the Statue of Liberty in the background, but let's see what happens. Okay, let's put that into Twitter. Let's see what we get. It doesn't always work. It doesn't always work. Oh, that's terrible. That is disturbing. But these may be good to show. These may be better than good ones. These are like bad attempts. I'll just say one more time. Try again, please. Let's see. Oh, that was bad. Yeah, maybe I'll just do this. Oh, that's, okay. Fuck it. These will be our floats. Better to show terrible floats than nothing at all, I would say. Jaffe, did you play Silent Hill Remake? Leather says, oh, you goddamn right I did. I loved it, man. That is one of my favorite games of the year. I rarely finish games, Leather, and it was, I finished it. It was fucking delightful, dude. It was great. Loved the game. Absolutely. Yeah, good stuff. Okay, so, but anyway, point being is we'll talk about that on the show. Speaking of Silent Hill, we might talk about this story of a player who discovered creepy messages hidden in the TV static of a couple of the areas of Silent Hill 2. It's kind of interesting. We didn't touch yesterday on Jeff Keighley and do we like musical performances in our game awards, so maybe that'll be a topic. I got to show this video. Have you seen these things? These are, there's about 4 of these. This is not the Sphere in Vegas. These are mini spheres. Apparently it's very expensive, the tickets, but they show sporting events. I guess they show them from, I don't know if the angle changes or the camera is just locked to the goalpost camera, or and then you've got the camera up above that's broadcasting, showing the broadcast, so you get the multiple angles and stuff. I have no idea, but this looks astounding. Like at first I saw this, I'm like, are they actually at the game? It's like, no, this is pretty fucking cool. So I want to go to one of these. The closest one is in LA. So I think that would be what a blast to watch a game this way, you know? So I just like to show stuff like that. There's not much to say about it, but that might be on the docket today. I'm amazed they haven't set up cameras to stream to VR headsets, Necro. They have. They absolutely have. They don't, you don't get the resolution in VR right now. So it still looks decent. But it doesn't, it's a neat novelty, but it's not as pleasant as watching it not in VR. Yeah, Yeti Money says it does change angles. Okay, cool. They just have cameras with a view they have set for that screen. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Have you been to one of these, Yeti? I forget. These are called, what are these called? I watched the Game Awards in Gear VR. Yeah, I mean, I've watched stuff in VR before, and it's okay, but it's more novel. Like, I've watched a full movie in VR. I watched Inglourious Bastards, and it was fine, but it's still too much kind of a pain. I don't think VR gaming, Nikki Cross, what was her superhero name? Nikki Cross, will ever be mainstream, but I think AR will. I think everybody knows that, thinks that. You'll just put on your AR glasses, and at that point, you will be able to block everything out, so you'll get VR, probably, but you'll definitely get AR. But VR, I love, but it hasn't really brought any quality of life or quality of entertainment improvements that are meaningful enough to merit it just not being the most pleasant experience. I'm not claustrophobic or anything like that. It's just like, it's a little hot in there. And fundamentally, it's like anything else, right? So I've never played a game in VR other than the Astrobot game, really, that made me go, this is better in VR, and I can't do this anywhere else but VR. And even that, it wasn't so much better that I wanted it over and over. It was a nice moment to have. But most games or movies or whatever in VR, once you get into the game, you're into the game, and it's better to be comfortable. Like me watching Inglourious Bastards in VR didn't make it a better movie, didn't make the experience better. It actually made it a little worse because I was, kind of got hot in there and I had to adjust the thing. And, so my answer is no, not as it's defined now. But I absolutely think once we get glasses, though, absolutely. 100% Nikki Cross. Okay. This is just a trailer I was going to show later today. Again, this is not today. This is from yesterday. So these are the Black Friday pickups from members. I'm going to save those for later. We were going to talk about Navi. It's kind of not that interesting. I watched the Sniper Elite Resistance trailer, like 6-minute semi-deep dive from IG, and I love this series, but I don't know if there's much to talk about. So I'm assuming what we will, and then there's QA from the members. So let's go to the news today and see if there's anything really strong that we should talk about. Matthew says RE7 in VR was dope. Yeah, I played that whole game. That's true. I played that entire game in VR, and it was great. It was great. Okay, so let's see. Average American to gain 6 pounds over the holidays. Not with me. I got my Wegovy pen right here, which I don't know if this stuff's working for me anymore. I really hate that. I wanted to be one of those guys that took the Ozempic and it just worked, and you're like, wow, Jaffe, what happened? I'd be like, I took Ozempic. And I lost about 20 pounds, but I think I've plateaued. But yeah, U.S. will throw out 300 million pounds of food on Thanksgiving. Maybe we'll talk about some of that shit. What else? AI creates a never before heard sound. Interesting. Maybe we'll listen to that. How do they know it's true? It might be true. Deflating boobs, shrinking butts, little lips. The de-Kardashianification of America. I know these aren't video game things, but you never know what you're going to find on the Drudge Report. PSVR 2 has a good sale going on. Oh, look at that. I want to see that. The Chalamet movie where he plays Bob Dylan. That looks good, man. All right, let's get to video games. Let's see where we go. So the first stop is always Twitter for this little journey of mine. And we go to... where do we go? We go to the top. We go to topics for Gavin and games. Okay. Cities, I don't care about that. I mean, you guys jump in. If you see something, let me know. Congratulations to all the winners of Playing for the Planet Awards. No, shut up. Shut up. Who would you marry? I would marry her or her. Isn't that terrible? That's where I don't care. That's where my mind goes. Look, I'm a progressive fella. I believe in equality, but, I can still go, hey, I perk up when I see a nice looking lady. Shut up. I know what Walk Hard is, but no, I haven't seen it. Haven't seen Alien Romulus yet either, truth be told, but that's out on Disney Plus or Hulu or something. All right, come on. What do we got? Star Fox. Who cares? That game doesn't hold up. Nine Souls blends mythology and cyberpunk into a 2D stylish action adventure game. Okay, maybe that's worth looking at. I played Mouthwashing. I haven't played it on I don't have a Steam Deck, but I have played it, and it's great. It's great. I don't think it's as good as While We Wait Here, but it's great. Okay, so you can get the whole thing, the bundle for the PSVR 2 for $350. That's cool. Okay. Bruce Wayne discover... You know what? I've been thinking of streaming the Batman game, but that's a different thing. That's not something to talk about on the stream. But this is pretty cool, this Batman. The second one, I think, is the one they say is really good from Telltale. So I might just put this up here to remind myself to do that, because I was watching some footage of that. I did not love Alien Isolation, but I didn't play that much of it, Batroll. Good to see you, buddy. Nine Souls is excellent, says P. Dudley. Good to know. Hello, BT Maverick. How are you, bud? Call of Duty Black Ops had the launch biggest. See, my audience on this show, when we do the show in the afternoon, they don't really seem to, for the most part, to care about Call of Duty. It's one of the biggest games in the world, but it's just not really for them. So, I try to stay away unless it's really big news for Call of Duty. But, what do we got here? CD Projekt reports 50% plummet in sales revenue. Who cares? I mean, it's important, but, I need something good. I need something interesting. I need something with some heat, baby. None of this has heat. We're going to have to create our own heat, boys. Indiana Jones. Yeah, I'm excited for that. I'll be getting it, the $100 version, so I can play it 3 days early. You goddamn right. You're a butcher. Holy shit, BT Maverick. You get the turkeys and chop their heads off? Good God. Does it ever make you feel bad? Swapfire, it's so funny you bring that up. No, that's part of the Thanksgiving special. Swapfire is one of our God of War members, programmer. He's the guy who created the game Swapfire, which we've talked about on the show numerous times. But he also created, when I talked about sort of the idea of taking Twisted Metal and maybe making it an omnidirectional vehicle, he actually mocked it up and he sent me code for it. So that will be part of it. I want to show that on the Thanksgiving Day special. I'm excited for that. Well, I know your name is Jeremy, but they know you as Swapfire. So, but yes, but it's cool. I mean, it's what do you get for the $100 version of Indie? You get, for me, what you get is 3-day early access. But you also get, like, I think a couple of costumes and, it's maybe a soundtrack or an art book. I don't fucking know. I mean, you should look it up if you're interested. But for me, the big sex of it is the $100 is the getting it early. All right, what do we got? Warcraft, Skull Taker. Come on, man, give me something good. A very good Star Wars game you probably didn't play is coming to PC. Is this the one I might want to? This is Rivals, or not Rivals, but this is like Rivals. It's Hunters. Okay, well, that might be worth talking about. I don't know if it's good or not, but I'll look into it, do a little research. The best Disney Plus deal. Come on, man, give me something good. Toss a coin, Witcher 4's I don't care. Give me something good, baby. You want a new Duke Nukem game? A new Duke Nukem game. Man, that would be interesting to figure out how today's culture would respond to it. It might be in a relatively decent position because for better or for worse, and I think more worse than for better, but the pendulum is swinging back towards the center a little bit. You get the first DLC as well with Indiana Jones. Okay, Fuzzy Tomato, thank you, buddy. But Alex, the tariffs from Trump haven't gone into effect. He's not the president yet. But anyway, what was I talking about? I mean, Duke Nukem, it'd be interesting to see what they can get away with now and what they would want to get away with now with Duke Nukem. But I don't, I would be that's a cool monster. I would be very curious what they can, how far they would actually want to push Duke Nukem these days. But, I'm kind of bored of talking about the woke stuff and the anti-woke stuff. People are getting tired of it, and I don't blame them, but, it just keeps dominating the news. What else do we got? Skeleton Crew. I want to watch this. I like the idea of Goonies in space. Let's go to NeoGAF. There's really nothing. There's no way. I mean, we're going to have to make our own news. We're going to have to find some interesting topics to talk about, or maybe watch some trailers. Let's see. God, I gotta wash this sweatshirt. My dog was lying on it last night. Moana doesn't have good reviews. Moana 2. I love the first Moana. I thought it was great. Thought it was excellent. Yeti money. It's not a bad point. Duke Nukem's kind of forgotten. There is a shelf life for these things, and you can leave them, in cold storage for so long, and then it just kind of becomes a nostalgia play, and if it's nothing more than that, you're kind of fucked. All right, what do we got? I'm tired. I was up real late last night playing not playing last night. I was playing some Stalker, and I was playing some Dragon Age actually last night. CD Projekt working on a new Cyberpunk animation. Jaffe is so prolific. Oh, well, thank you, Billy Bones. I appreciate that. That's what she said. I'm watching Wicked tonight, says Alex, whether you like it or not. I think that's great, man. I'm looking forward to seeing Wicked, but I'm not going to, go outside to see it. I don't cut the turkey's head off, says BT. I cut the meat that's been broken down. I make it even smaller into steaks, roast, and whatnot. Well, you're doing the Lord's work, maybe, or the devil's work. I can't appreciate meat. I think it's disgusting, but I am a weirdo. know, and I'm not even being silly with you on that. I mean, I have a mental block. Humans are probably meant to eat other animals, and I just can't get my head around it. So, that said, I think it's great that you're providing people foodstuffs. What did you see that story though? Earlier we were talking briefly, BT, that Americans are going to throw away. Did you see this? Like 300. Let me see what it was. They said Americans are throwing away this Thanksgiving 300 million pounds of food. Do you guys, I mean, what do you do with you have any leftover turkey you give to the homeless? Well, they can't cook it. What are you going to do? Give them some to see? I don't know. What the hell? I don't know. I don't want to bite. Bukaki says, did you hear about the new game from Haywood Studios? I have a feeling I'm going to go, what's Haywood Studios? And he's going to say, hey, would you go fuck yourself or something? But I'll do it. I'll play along. No, Bukaki. What's Haywood Studios? Here we go. Mr. Torres, Pal World's good, man. Pal World's pretty good. I enjoyed it when it came out at first. Thank you, Uncensored Maverick. I appreciate that, buddy. It's very kind. Come on, man. Give me something. Give me some news to talk about to the good people of the Gabbin' and Games community. What are you doing? I believe at the time I spent working overnights at the grocery store, says Necro, the amount of perfectly good food they destroyed is horrible. Right. Alex says, Jaffe, does just closing your eyes and wishing for the best for yourself consider as praying, or do you have a religion? I don't really pray, so I don't know. I can tell you that the longer I live, the more it wouldn't surprise me if... Here's what I'll tell you briefly. The same thing I say to religious people, which is when they say things to me about how can you not believe in God, just look around. And I say, well, you are taking the way humans process the world and that's all you know. And so you're attributing miraculous logic to why the world is so amazing when the world is just the world, quite probably. But through your filter, you have those attributions. And so thus you think, oh, something must have created this. Similarly, I look at life and I say, my life so far has been, pretty, like I've been able to craft it to be in a lot of ways what I want it to be. And it steers me into a direction of going, hey, maybe there's something to this idea that we create our own reality based on what we perceive and based on what we put our energy into, blah, blah, blah. But then I also have to be realistic and say, or that is a human way of processing your reality. And I could have had infinite other realities unfold for me by pure luck or random or whatever, and I would be applying the same logic. So I don't really know, Alex, that's why I'm agnostic on all this stuff. That's why. John Lennox. All right, I'll put him up here. I'm not going to watch him right now, but I'll put him up here so I don't forget. John Lennox. God. All right, I'll leave that there. All right, let's find some news, baby. Come on. What's going on in this crazy little world? What are we doing? What are we going to do on our show, man? This is the stress. My life is so stressful. I have to get on the internet. Hello, Laura Luna. Oh, my goodness. Good to see you. It's been a while, buddy. How are you? How's life over in the Euro? That's what us cool kids call Europe. There's nothing to talk about. That's not true. I will always find something to talk about. But I want to find something good, something exciting, something gamer-centric. Let's go to NeoGAF. Maybe they got some hot buttons. Screen Rant gave Wukong a 6 out of 10. Oh. What? That's interesting. They didn't like it. But they say it deserves Game of the Year. That might be fun to talk about. Come on now. That's nuts. That's nuts. You're doing fine about to enter. Oh, the month of November? Yeah. Everything's slowing down for the holidays, says Gimpy. Yeah, no, but I won't. I don't accept that. How about Spines, a new book publishing company? 8,000 books a year. Well, who's going to read them? Most people don't even read anymore. I'm reading. I read all the time. Spines Book Publishing. I haven't heard of this. Become a book publisher specializing in multimedia. I'll look it up. I don't think the audience will care too much about that. But I'm interested. Because it's insured and they don't want any people to sue if they get sick from eating out-of-date food. That's why they throw it away. Oh, yeah, Grums probably has some news, PK. I saw your thing, PK, about the trailer. When we get to trailers, we'll put that one up. Let's see. Well, maybe it's an I Love the Weird kind of day, although those shows take a lot longer to prep, but let's see. There's an indie deep dive, but it's just all the same shit. Most of this deep dive stuff doesn't really amount to actual deep dives. It's just like advertising. Okay, well, this is where the craft comes in. This is where the genius of being a chef comes in. Hello, Ludo, when it comes to making the show. We don't have much info, but what do you want from Naughty Dog's next game? All right, that might be an interesting thing to talk about. Naughty Dog next game. Okay, we can maybe spin some gold out of that. Thank you, Bukaki. I can hear it in my head. Hello, Nathan Smith. How are you, bud? Yeah, let's go. I blocked Grums, but I'm sure I can find him. I think I can still see what he's tweeting or some such shit. CIA, anybody can unlock the ability. CIA has been using psychics to spy on foreign nations. Well, they suck. See, this is why I don't believe this. CIA casually released classified documents saying not only are psychic abilities real, they might be. Anybody can unlock the abilities, and CIA has been using psychics to spy on foreign nations and to look into the distant past and future. Okay, but if that's true, what, you didn't see 9/11 coming? Or even if you didn't see 9/11 coming, you may not have been able to see it, but you must have been like, why is everything we're remote viewing in the future suddenly so different? Let's trace it back to some event. I mean, come on. Again, I'm a believer. I think there's a lot of shit going down that that none of us understand, but I'm not gonna just, go, yeah, boom. It is because it is. I mean, I'd love it to be. Doga says, I don't understand what's difficult about making a new Duke Nukem game. Well, no, that's not true. A super soldier kills monsters and shits in their necks. 10 million sold. Maybe shitting in their necks. But the point is that a big appeal of Duke Nukem back then was he was kind of really edgy and, he was funny and he said shit that was, very in tune with a very certain kind of audience, which really was the majority of people playing games. But now the audience has gotten so big. Now, if somebody wanted to make a video game for the budget of the original Duke Nukem 3D and say, I want to be a square, I want to hit the target on all of these people that say they want the sex and the violence and the crudeness and all that shit of what games used to be, I think you could make a shit ton of money, but you'd have to make it at an indie price. You couldn't make it at a AAA price. So, but you could do that maybe. I don't know. I think Gearbox owns the rights now to Duke Nukem, but I'm not entirely sure if that's true. All right. I was going to look something up. What was I going to look up? Solaris, Old Gimpy. Is that based on the game? Did the game base that on the book, I mean? Or that's what I mean. I could go to Kind of Funny, or I do go to these shows that are already on. Hello, Gina. Here's the deal. Gina wanted to interview me today. Maybe we do the interview for I'll stream it live because she goes off and edits it. So if you want to do that, Gina, that way I could kill two birds with one stone. Not that you're a bird that needs killing. I'm just saying that, it's Thanksgiving weekend and I got, Sarah's coming back into town tonight with her bow. I like the guy. It's not like I'm gonna be like what do you mean no? Are you telling me no? You're saying you're not gonna that's not acceptable to you? I have time. Oh, shut up, Gina, you nerd. I've met the guy on the phone. I've met him on video. We play games together. He's a member of the show, believe it or not. And so, it's not like, oh no, I have to meet my daughter's boyfriend. I think he's a cool dude. So, that'll be fun. But I don't know how I got onto that. Oh, because I'm busy. It's Thanksgiving weekend. Shut up, Gina. Terrible live. That's why we can't stream it. Yes, but I'm not terrible live, which means you'll get good content from me, Gina, and then you can edit it. Edited it. Oh, I know. Gina's she's a nerd. I don't know if it's an act. Let me tell you about Gina for a minute, briefly. She used to be an agent, one of the super agent to the stars. And she says, hey, I'm coming to San Diego. We'd like to represent you. Let's have lunch. And I says, okay, yeah, sure, why not? I don't, she sent me a thing on Facebook and she said, oh, I went to USC. I'm like, yeah, cool, all right. And so we meet at this, I don't know, Italian place in Del Mar. And the lady comes up, the waitress comes up and says, what do you want to eat? And I says, to the lady, I'll take a fettuccine Alfredo, please. And Gina, I'll never forget that she orders the exact same fucking thing. And I'm like, that's such an agent move. I'm like, there's no way, Gina, your taste buds and palate is so shitty like mine. You're a refined person out in the world. You fly all over the world. You've been all over the world. You're worldly. Let's use the word one more time and I get paid. There's no way what you want to do when you go to a fancy schmancy Italian restaurant is eat fettuccine Alfredo with nothing in it. But she's like, no, I like it. This is my favorite meal. And then she called her mom, which was like her assistant at UTA or wherever the fuck she worked. And it's like, oh, no, that's what she always orders. See, I'm so old. Shut up. Anyway. Oh, the Olive Garden, Alex. Now, listen. If I really want to... Seriously, I'm not even kidding you. If I ask you out one day, not Gina, but if you're a lady out there and I ask you out one day, and I say we're going to get Italian, and I take you to the Olive Garden, you're special to me, because as much as people want to mock the Olive Garden, they got the best fettuccine Alfredo, and the breadsticks just keep coming. They don't ever stop. You could sit there for a year. And they'll bring you breadsticks. And then if you say to them, hey, I'll throw a little something extra in for you. If you bring the fettuccine Alfredo sauce on the side, then you dip the fucking breadstick in the goddamn Alfredo sauce. It's the best. It's the best. I love it. That's right, Necro. Necro says she sounded exactly like that. I was the waiter the next table over. Fuck you, Bukkake Drive-By. You're uninvited to Thanksgiving now. All right, let's find. I got no news today. Okay, let's go. This is where the rubber meets the road. All right, this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where we say, okay, well, we don't have a lot of news. Somebody brought something up. I was going to look it up and I forgot it. So bring it back up if you remember. Okay, so now we got to say, okay, what does the audience want? The audience wants what? The audience loves games. They like talking about games. Oh, I know. We were going to go see what the other people were doing. Let's see what Kind of Funny doesn't go live till noon. So let's see what Luke Stevens. I've been watching his stuff. He's pretty good. I don't like that he's pretty good. It bothers me because he's successful and he's better at this than I am. I don't like that. He's younger and he's better at it than I am and he's more successful. I don't like this guy. Fuck him. What's he talking about today? That was 2 hours ago, 22 hours ago. What a loser. He's not even live right now. Yeah, that's how I can get in. And Casey Hudson Studio. Okay, but what's we are going to talk about Naughty Dog's next thing. What do you mean look at his setup versus who really? Gina says look at his setup versus yours. Who gives a shit? You're telling me that matters? That his setup is a key to his success, not what he talks about? He's got studio lighting. What is he making, a porn? I don't give a shit. And the angling. What? So seriously, I mean, don't get me wrong. Oh, fuck you, bitch. Bukaki says he's more attractive. Fuck you. Fuck you. I mean, listen, Gina, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that if you're telling me that there is value to getting a better set with better lighting, I'll fucking do it. But I assumed it was the content. I mean, most people listen to the show. They don't watch the show. How many copies of Swapfire have been shipped on Steam since 11/11? I would love to know that, actually. I mean, you have been working on your game for a very long time. You're giving it away for free the month up until the 12th of December. Yeah, I mean, are people buying it? Are people playing it? What's going on with that? That's interesting to me. But yeah, so I don't know. He's not live yet, so I don't know what these people are talking about today. He is always negative, just like Yang Ye. I'm not negative though. Maybe I should be negative. Why does setup matter? I don't agree. I defy that. I think you're wrong. Setup doesn't matter. Here's how I know. I mean, it can't hurt. Last Stand Media. Look at Colin and his guy. They just shoot in their bedrooms. They're one of the biggest sites out there. There's no setup involved. Hell, I'm on his shows. They're just shooting in their bedrooms. There's no setup. Controversy helps. Yeah, I know. What do you mean? You had a video. Jaffe, the YouTube algorithm is ridiculous. We had a video to promote Swapfire. So you guys have shipped, even though it's free, 157,000 people have picked up Swapfire in the last couple of weeks. That's amazing if I'm reading that right. That's kind of amazing to me. Yeah, I agree, Matthew. It's all about content. I mean, that's where I want to deliver. I mean, I'm not looking to be a fancy schmancy. Kean says, how do you define game, Jaffe? In my opinion, not all interactive entertainment products can be called games. Yeah, I mean, I don't, it doesn't bother me. I don't mean I don't care about your question. I care about your question, but I mean, it ultimately is irrelevant. I think you just make things. It's kind of like, how do you define art? If you're a true artist, you don't think about it. You just have to get the shit out of you. So do I admire Todd Howard? Sure. Yeah. But how many copies of people have gone to Steam though and gotten the game is my question, not watch the video. Oh, fuck you, Bukaki. Really? Good setup shows you care. It looks like you don't care. Why should I? Well, what's wrong? My setup's fine. I've got all this charming bric-a-brac behind me that you can look at and wonder about. I've got, I'm lit well enough. I don't have my key light on right now. But short of that, I mean, what do you want? You want a fucking fancy schmancy set? I could do that. I have the green screen I use sometime. I don't know. You people. You fucking people with your politics and your low-cut dresses. All right. This is seriously. We have to... piles of books? How can you not be charmed by my piles of books? How many of you people have not looked at my backdrop during the show and really tried to zoom in and figure out what's back there? You know you do it. You know you look at the bookshelf and you... what is that red book? What's that book? You know you do it. And I want you to do it. That's why it's back there. I like Todd Howard. I got nothing against... no, I'm not high. This is me, baby. That's amazing, Swapfire. 100... so have you gotten some good reviews? I like to think that's all my really spotty advertising. Can you imagine? It's you know... Jaffe, they probably can't read. Fuck you. Some of them can read. This is meant to... no, I totally cleaned this room. But this isn't... well, I don't, but the lady does. But this is meant to be, you know... this is... right, by the look of the books, I almost thought you were an intellectual. Absolutely. It's the shtick. It's the shtick. Okay. Let's think for a minute. Let's come up with some good topics for today. All we need is 4. All we need is 4 to carry us through the day. All right, we can do this. We can do this. You tune into a show like mine, you're like, here's this fucking blowhard. He's talking about games a lot. Yeah, I should get Matt Gaetz to do that. I don't want to give him any money, though. We'll see if we can actually become a part of people's game nights. Yeah, that's still great, though, man. Congratulations. Excellent. Okay. The quartering setup. I've had the quartering on the show, man. All right, come on. Let's focus. The Game Awards. I don't want to talk about the Game Awards. I mean, what do you want to talk about the Game Awards for, Witch? Right? What's there to say? Maybe that's the thing, is I see through so much of this horse shit. I don't mean that like you don't, like I'm some kind of, you know, I'm just saying that for me, I look at the Game Awards and go, but I mean, that's the thing, maybe that's what the audience wants. They want to care about DLC being nominated for the Game Awards. I'm just like, Bonk's Revenge. Absolutely. Look, the AI, the AI is not going to tell me, because the AI, some AI, okay, here, we'll do it on X is better. God damn it, Jeff, you don't start saying X. Don't start saying X. But look, we'll go to Grok, because Grok is tied into the internet. My version of ChatGPT 4, I have like 20 of them. And the best one is like a year out from the internet. I don't quite understand that. Interesting, Anthony. Is AAA getting too difficult for entry-level gamers? That's an interesting one. Hang on, let me turn that into a little clicky clock. That's what I like to call it. It's charming when I say that. Shut up. All the girls come running when I say that. It's like, ooh, he said clicky clock. Let's just play Name That Tune on the show today. So I'll just hum things. All right, I like that question though from Anthony. Is AAA gaming getting too difficult for entry-level gamers? Good question. Okay. So I need 10 ideas for my YouTube. I spelled it wrong. You'll know. Video game news show. Can you tell me 10 ideas that are sensationalistic and interesting that would generate a lot of comments and discussion about gaming from the chat? Let's see what it gives us. I should say, tied to the news, the biggest gaming controversies of the year. Compile a list of most controversial. That's not bad. Easter eggs that change gaming history. Pfft. The hype and reality of upcoming gaming's most infamous bugs. Yeah, no. Let me do this. I like the first one though. Can you make it based on today's biggest gaming news? Today is 11/26/2024. The weeks, I'll say, based on the weeks. Let's see if it's tied into the net. It is. Sony's acquisition of From Software, Black Ops 6 sales numbers, the Stalker 2 launch, triumph or catastrophe, Sony's new handheld, revolution and redundancy, Cyberpunk 2077 continued success, the road to redemption, the GTA hype machine, marketing genius or overpromise. They're going to be in trouble with that one. The Windows 11 update, Ubisoft games at risk, the future of The Witcher, the impact of cloud gaming. Yeah, you goddamn right. The YGG Play Summit. That's not bad. Those are pretty good. There's some good ones in there. What do you guys think? What do you guys think of any of those? This is literally how Game Rant is made. I mean, it's not like I don't use AI. I use it all the time. Well, Hades 2 in the nominations is just because it's an early access, though. That's the reason. Talk about the Golden Joystick Award, says Agent. I mean, I'll talk about them. I don't like them. I do have Blue Sky. I don't like them because they're, again, it's the same. It's just, the problem with the Joystick Awards are they're just fan voted, which means you've got people voting for things in categories where they only are voting for what they like and they didn't play the other games. So, I don't really buy it. I think it's bullshit. It's like, you could say most popular game. I think that makes sense. Is the Play Portal worth it now that it has access to cloud gaming? I don't think so, but I know some people who have their Portal really, really fucking like it. I don't like that Sony has started to prefer third-person games, which is why Resistance. I'll mention that. I'll tell you a brief story. I'll tell you a brief story about this, but let me put that up there as well. From Doja. Hello, Yorch. How are you, bud? Hang on. Let's put that right there. You go live there. Okay, I'll be honest with you. One of the reasons that you see, at least this is what I was led to believe when I worked at Sony, one of the reasons you saw so many third-person games was because an executive that was a key executive for greenlighting didn't like first-person games. He only liked third-person games. And so everyone knew that if you wanted to have a good chance of getting a green light, you would say it's a third-person game, which is, I think that, at least in America, that went a very long way for why you saw a lot of over-the-shoulder cam games. But, and I mean, they sell well. A lot of people like them. But, okay. Dev question? Sure, why not? Hit me, baby. What you got? It was not Shuhei. I'm not going to tell you it was, but no, it was not Shuhei. If I was Shuhei, I don't know. I think there needs to be a less squeaky chair. Listen to this thing. It's like an old man on a goddamn Cracker Barrel porch. I think there really needs to be somebody out there that can figure out the way to communicate the uniqueness and the specialty and the variety and the wonder that is the indie game market. And I don't mean the stuff that's necessarily, although this can be part of it, arty fucking farty shit. I just mean there's so much to play, and I don't know if somebody... you remember, like, what was that box called? Was it the Ouya box or whatever that fucking thing was? Which, by the way, they had a crackerjack of an exclusive in Towerborn. Great fucking game that you can play everywhere now, thank God. But it's and maybe it will be with streaming. I don't know, but it's just like there's so many great games that people just miss, and I think they'd really like it. Swapfire says, would your audience fund a game with you as creative director sight unseen? I think sure, if the budget was right. But I don't want to have to fucking build a team is the problem. I could if somebody came to me and said, here's a turnkey solution for a very small walking simulator horror indie game, I'd be over the moon. But my problem, speaking of this guy who had his studio shut down recently, he never shipped a game at this studio. He was the creative director on one of the Mass Effect games, or all of them, I don't fucking know. And, he opened up this studio to make a AAA, I think it was like a sci-fi game. And they just announced yesterday that he was shutting it down. And, they had funding issues or whatever. And, that's kind of the thing, right? It's just like it is so difficult for people to get funding these days, because most of the games, it's not, a lot of people are under the impression that games are these kind of artistic endeavors, and some of them are at certain levels. But when you start talking about these big budget fucking games, that's why I tell people, if you want to make a game, go make a game, because the idea that you're going to go get a job at Sony and you're going to be able to do what I did, or Neil does now, or Corey does now, someone's got to do the job. But even those people are jumping through hoops for executives and marketing people and sales people, and it's just not what it was. So I get why that guy, even though he has this great pedigree, like I barely was able to raise funding for Bartlett Jones, and I was coming off, I was coming off Twisted Metal, which did well enough that it made its money back, but just barely. But I was still a name at the time. But now, the idea that, I was the creative director of this, doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean, Blackie says, was it easier before to make a game? It's easier now to make a game, but it's harder now to get funding for a game, at least in the AAA space. There's no way that Balatro could ever be considered a game of the year. The game is good fun and addictive, but it's not anywhere near the quality. See, I don't agree with that. But again, this is why I don't know what Gracie Manor is. What is that? But that Agent X-Force, that is why game awards really, I think, are stupid, or any creative awards, but specifically let's stick with just video game awards. For me, my definition of game of the year is clearly different than yours. And when I was on nominating committees, this was a problem that we had. I would be talking about things like Angry Birds or whatever, and people would say, what are you talking about? Angry Birds is this little small cell phone game. You really think that's better than Uncharted 1 or 3 or whatever the fuck it was? And I'm like going, it's not, as a game, Angry Birds at the time captured the culture. It wasn't as big as Pac-Man was back in the day, or Fortnite was, but it was the biggest game of the last handful of years. And if that doesn't deserve a seat at the table, I don't know what does. But it's just a little cell phone game. And again, that's fine. But people have different ideas of what this award is, and that's why it's kind of, it's kind of like the Tower of Babel, right? Everybody's arguing and fighting, and it's like you don't even know what the other person's saying. Yeah, Swapfire says, who does make games now? He says it's easy to make a game. It's hard to stand out because so many talented people are making games, right? Gnawdog says the Clear Sky mission in Stalker 2 sucks balls. Non-stop spawning enemies make you burn through ammo, and it's all in a slow-moving swamp. I'm done till there's a patch. Are you playing on easy, medium, or hard, sir? What are you playing? What are you playing on, baby? I don't know, David Seeger, what an NPV is. Is that a vertical slice? What is that? I don't know what NPV means. Oh, I'm playing on easy too. Then I think I'm going to hate it. Do you have to solve that mission? All right, Necro, good to see you, buddy. Have a good day at work. Minimal viable product. Okay, gotcha. I get your feeling that you've lost connection to the mainstream audience, says George. I've played all the games you've been playing. Always had fun. You have a gift for certain games that would align on the indie space. Oh yeah, well, I don't know what the mainstream audience is anymore, but I don't think anybody does, George. I don't think that is a necessary deficiency. Although it may be, that's totally fine. I don't feel that that's like, oh no, I don't know what the mainstream wants. If I was still working in games, in the AAA space, and maybe I'll put this up as something to talk about today, perhaps. But what I'll tell you is, even the stuff like, if you look at this pendulum of culture wars, even the stuff that people are going on about, the pendulum swinging back and it's no longer all this woke stuff, blah blah blah. And it's like, okay, give me an example. Well, Stellar Blade was not some massive hit. Stellar Blade was a solid, profitable game that didn't cost all that much money to make, and it found its audience, and that's wonderful. And it's from what I played, which wasn't a lot, is really good. Not my kind of game, but it's really good in terms of gameplay. But the idea of what the mainstream audience wants, I don't even know what that is if you don't count, a Fortnite, or you don't count, Helldivers had its moment in the sun for a moment, and then it's kind of, no one's talking about it anymore. Then there's like a indie game flavor of the week, and then that goes. So I don't really even know if there is, short of, Madden and Fortnite and whatnot, I don't even know. I don't even know what if you I'm curious. Let's go to the PlayStation Store, because it'll tell you the top games in America at the moment. And I don't know how often they update it. I think it's once a day. But let's see what's doing really well over there. Okay, so Call of Duty, of course, Fortnite, sports games, free-to-play Grand Theft Auto, Roblox, fighting game, right? I mean, what do you mean it's a lie, the top 10? Black Ops 6 is there. Look at you ready to go off half-cocked. Or look at you going off half-cocked. Roadkill comes in. That's a lie, the top 10. Give it a minute. I'm not there yet. He says Black Ops 6 should be there. Black Ops 6 is there. It's the number one game. Relax. So quick to jump and be suspicious of people. God damn, this culture. Right, none of them are woke, says Blackie Cat, but none of them are like super right wing. Yeah, they just sit there and they function. They work. They're basic fantasies people get to live out. Oh my God, come on, man. I'm busy. Wise Wizard Jaffe, he's so funny, he's going to take us to Comic-Con. No, I can't go to Comic-Con anymore. I've been banned. That's not true. It's just too crowded. But I like saying I've been banned. It's more fun. But if you look at this stuff down here, I mean, Farming Simulator's doing well, but Phasmophobia is a low-budget game made by one guy. Perfect. Dragon Age, which I really like, but I get a lot of people don't, is not doing all that well. I don't know what that is. This is niche. Dragon Quest, Horizon Adventures, not doing well. The new Life is Strange, not doing well. This is free, 3-on-3 freestyle. Sounds fun if it's like NBA Jam. But yeah, I hear this game's great. The Thaumaturge. Oh, there's a demo. That's good. I want to play that. Oh, there's also a demo. Yeah, I want to see their trials, but Anyway, the point is, Anthony Wright says Dragon Age Game of the Year. I mean, it's not my Game of the Year, but it's really fucking good. I think it's a really fucking good game, and I was playing it last night. It's a great. It's out of all the games this year. Like, I made a video about it, and people got mad at me in the video because that's what they do. But I would say Dragon Age and Star Wars Outlaws gave me this year the best sense of going on an adventure. Those two games, I would say. So, I thought they were great, man. And Metaphor Refantasio, which is not even on the list either. I mean, none of these games we're talking about. Let's go to the top selling games of 2024 so far. Top selling games 2024. So far, don't be a bitch. Yeah. Oh, Prince Persia Lost Crown. That's fair, Batroll. I need to spend more time with that. I have that, but I haven't played it beyond the demo. Okay, look at this. The top selling games. This might be interesting to talk about. This is 4 days ago. I won't play Red Dead Redemption 2 until I can stream it because I want to play it at the highest fucking visual fidelity. I don't want to play it on a PlayStation. I want to play it on a fucking high-end PC with everything turned up to 11, and it's not on GeForce yet. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is the number 20th. I mean, that tells you, seriously, that tells you how few games are released in the AAA space anymore. That this game, which is on the record by the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery for being a huge disaster. I think they said they lost $200 million in this game, is the number 20th game of the year as it relates to AAA games, like big budget retail games. They just don't make a lot of them anymore. So simply being one of them puts you in the top 20. Think about that. 19 is Madden from last year, so that's pretty good. Minecraft hanging in there, of course. 17 NBA 2K from last year. Tekken 8, that's pretty good for Tekken. Number 16. 15 is Final Fantasy Rebirth. GTA 5, number 14 still. Hogwarts still in there, number 13. 14, WWE 2K24. MLB The Show 11. Top 10, soccer, whatever. That's surprising. Dragon's Dogma 2. I like Suicide Squad as well. Actually, I didn't like the ending because I couldn't beat the boss, but I liked it. Okay. Dragon's Dogma 2, which I liked, I didn't love, is number 9, which is surprising, but I don't know. I wish I had some sales on this. Like, was it profitable? Or Elden Ring, brilliant, still hanging in there. MVP Sports, and then Madden in general, 6 and 7. 5, Modern Warfare 3, last year's Call of Duty. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero has done amazing. That's number 4. Maybe I should pick that up. Everybody's playing that, clearly. Call of Duty Black Ops 6, delightful game. Number 3. Number 2 is Helldivers 2. That's amazing. And then number 1 is college football. So, that's your top ones. What was so hard about the boss? I must have tried to beat that Brainiac motherfucker 50 times. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. But I would say, though, okay, so I couldn't beat the boss in that game, and here's probably why I couldn't beat the boss. Was that I think I bought a version of the game because I wanted to play it early, and it came with some unlocks that I played through most of the game without really worrying about unlocking. So I think what happened is there is kind of a meta in that game of Suicide Squad where you're supposed to be leveling up stuff like weapons and gear and all that. But because I bought the premium edition to play early and those things were automatically unlocked, I never felt the need to even work with those systems. And so I think what ended up happening is by the time I got to the end of Suicide Squad, the difficulty had ramped enough that I did need to fundamentally level up, but I had absolutely no experience with that, so I didn't think about it. But that's probably what happened, is why it was so difficult. But other than that, I really liked Suicide Squad. I don't know what to tell you guys on that game. I mean, there are going to be a number of games that, by the way, I'm going to publicly shame you, Roadkill, and I'm going to do it out of love. I'm going to do it out of love. He says, or she says, get good, I had a hard time too. Also, when you're using the word too for also, it's think about the word also like more, like included, so you get two O's, so it's TOO, right? If you are going to the store, or I'm giving this to Fred, it's only one. And I'm not trying to be an asshole with grammar. I'm just saying, you know, there's value in knowing how to spell basic words, like which to use. Right, the Me Too movement versus the Me Too movement, right? They're very different movements. That's right. Yes, Carlos, it is worth it for $7, 100%. Suicide Squad, absolutely. It's really fun. It's a really fun game, and honestly, it came out at the same time Spider-Man 2 came out, or roughly. And I enjoyed. My main guy was. I think Boomerang, believe it or not, who I'm like going, I don't give a fuck about Boomerang as a character, Captain Boomerang, whatever. But his ability to navigate, like by the time Spider-Man 2 came out, after having played Spidey and Miles Morales, I was kind of, you know, whatever, it's kind of over it. And so the navigation was just sort of like rote, but moving around the level with Captain Boomerang, I thought it was great. I really love that navigation. So, and I thought it was funny. I thought the characters were cool. It was a fun environment. It's absolutely worth some ducats, yes. And I would say, I mean, I don't think there's going to be a reckoning. I don't think the industry works that way. It's not with movies like, oh, It's a Wonderful Life came out and it bombed, and years later people discovered it. It's kind of harder for games to do that. But I do think if you look at Suicide Squad, Star Wars Outlaws, Dragon Age, there have been a handful of games that really got the shit end of the stick that they did not deserve. I'm not saying they should be Game of the Year games, but the amount of hate a lot of those games got without any basis of reality. Like JB is being obnoxious in the chat and saying, a reckoning for what? People play what they like. Again, this is the problem with discourse. This is the problem with the internet. Okay? I'm not trying to argue with you, and I'm not you coming up with the phrase, a reckoning for what? People play what they like. What you talking about? You're an idiot. I'm not suggesting people shouldn't play what they like, okay? So you are just creating this total tangent to the argument or the debate or the discussion or whatever this is in order to, I don't know what it is you're attempting to do. I don't want people to play things they don't like. What I'm saying is there is a system in place. You didn't ask a question. Questions come with question marks. You said a reckoning for what? Question mark, and then you answered your own question. People play what they like. You didn't ask me anything. You were making a statement. And that's fine, but I'm answering your statement, which is this, which is if you look at the hate a game like Star Wars Outlaws got, and you ask yourself, if you never played it, what was so bad about it? I played it. I finished it. I played the DLC. I'm almost done with it. It's very short, the DLC. It's a good game. Kay Vess, the character, is a good character. She's likable. I agree. There is a strange, not necessarily bad, but an interesting story I'd like to know about why they took a very beautiful actress and did take her face and make it still cute, but not as beautiful. And again, I made sure, I've talked about this before, when we did the first Kratos in God of War 2005, the intention was to make him an unattractive guy. Not in his physique, but we broke his nose and we didn't want to make him look like some glamour model. We wanted to make him look like he'd been through hell. And so I could see somebody making Kay Vess and going, yeah, she is, as a human, the actress we're using is really pretty. But basically, if we do that, we're going to have to make her look more average and normal, because otherwise it just doesn't fit into Star Wars like that. You know, it looks like she's kind of like a model running through Star Wars. All right, Swapfire, good to see you, buddy. I'm interested in what happened there. But short of that, to hate on Outlaws, it feels like we are, having to put up with a lot of things failing just... Here's what it looks like to me. It looks like it could be that, John Gray. I doubt it, because it's not like she's a big actress with image rights. But John Gray says maybe it's so they won't have to pay the actress royalties down the line. I mean, possibly, but that makes sense if you've gone out and you've hired Sydney Sweeney, who has the ability to negotiate something like image rights down the line. But so if you, I'm gonna, how do I express this? If you take a game, let's just take, I want to take Star Wars. Let me open up. If you take Star Wars and like, it has to pass through this filter of, I don't even know how to express it. Let me try, because it's important, I think. If you want to look at Life is Strange, the game was not a buggy mess at launch, Blue Arrow. That is this narrative. That's what I'm saying. The truth has become based on things that are not accurate. What people call the truth is simply not accurate. The game was not a buggy mess at launch. I played it at launch. I finished it in the first 3 weeks it was out. It had problems at launch. Sure, it had the stealth was tuned poorly, and that, by the way, got fixed relatively quickly, even before this recent patch. It was not the best game in the world, but it was good enough. And then when you include the fantasy of living in this open world Star Wars thing, and again, I'm not trying to sell you. If you didn't like it, you didn't like it. My issue is not that people didn't like it if they played it. My issue is a narrative is allowed to take root and people just believe it. Now, that's probably the way it's always been. It's just that now with the internet, we can recognize it when it's happening in real time. We can recognize the propaganda. And right now, the way it works is there is money in negativity. Maybe there always has been, but there's a lot of money for a lot of people in negativity. And if you can find something to hate on, it's not just that you make money hating on it with ad clicks and all that, but you hate on it enough that you begin to affect a narrative or present a narrative that people take as true. Which is why I found it hilarious that when I was commenting on Dragon Age the other day, I had like 7 people in my comments use the phrase, I talked about this on yesterday's show, use the phrase, it's like the writing was done with HR in the room. And I'm like, that is from Skill Up. You're simply quoting me a line that someone wrote in Skill Up for their review, and it was a good line, and you're making it your own, and you probably haven't even played the game, but you're willing to go out and actually bang the drum and alter the narrative to the point that people now go, Outlaws is crap, Dragon Age is crap, Suicide Squad is crap. And I'm telling you, I played all of them. They're not crap. They may not be game of the year, but they're not crap games. They're fun. They're well-made, solid fucking games. And I don't care if you don't want to play them. It doesn't bother me that you... There's a difference... That's what I would say. There's a difference between... Like, Morgan right now is saying Suicide Squad is crap. Now, it's quite probable she's played it because she's an actual gamer. Okay, so if I actually sat down with her or had her on the show and said, talk to me about what you didn't like, we could probably arrive at a place where I'm like, yeah, I don't agree with you, but I get why that would bother you. I get that. I didn't have a problem with that, but you did, and I respect that. But most people who are saying this is crap, that game, this game, whatever game, they don't have any real experience with it. And again, I don't have a problem with the fact that they are just out there saying bullshit. It's the fact that they are out there saying bullshit, and it actually is affecting people's perception of something based on lies. Outlaws has Krachin issue. I don't know what that is. Don't consumers have the right to know what a game is really like before buying? Consumers have a right to do any and everything they want. They're consumers. I'm not upset that people didn't buy the games. I'm upset that people didn't buy the games or consider the games based on narratives that are not accurate. And again, is that subjective? Sure. But here's what's not subjective. Star Wars Outlaws was riddled with bugs when it launched. No, it wasn't. No, it was not. That's just horse shit. It wasn't perfect. It had problems, but it wasn't so riddled with bugs that it was like Cyberpunk or anything close to that. I'm glad to hear that, but bad done well. Good. People are followers. They need their favorite reviewer to tell them it's good, says JB, but they shouldn't be. Why? Why can't we get away from that? I played it on console. Why do we have to do that? It's not 200K, it's 200 million. They lost $200 million is what they lost on Suicide Squad. It's ridiculous, man. That you know, I don't know. And again, people are like, Jeff, he's so arrogant. He thinks he's so smart. I don't think I'm so smart. I am so smart. What I think is I have the ability, which is not some kind of magic trick, and it's not some kind of education aspect. You can have the ability too if you want it, to just be very questioning of a lot of people who are in the business of making money off lying to you and me. I don't think it was licensing. They own the license. It was, they don't have to pay for the license. I mean, it's internal money. Maybe they transferred it through the Warner Brothers, but they own Suicide Squad. Do you think affordability, says Gravedigger, has anything to do with it? I hardly buy new games because bad economy. If a game supposedly is bad, I'm glad to pass and not feel like I miss anything. Again, I don't have a problem with people passing on a game that doesn't interest them or that they feel, look, I only have so much money for games and I'm only buying the stuff that gets really great reviews. I think that's fine. It's the narrative. If the narrative was Suicide Squad is a fun, solid third-person shooter with really fun navigation, with characters, if you're into comic books, you love. If you check all those things, it's probably like a 7.5 out of 10. You'll have some fun with it, and there's some cool stuff about it. And you're like, yeah, I'm looking for something that's really going to blow my mind if I'm going to drop 50, 60, 70, 80 bucks. I would say that's a fair assessment of Suicide Squad. But Suicide Squad being, I mean, I don't know what the reviews are. Let's go look. Suicide Squad. I'm sure the user reviews are terrible. Kill the Justice League. Metacritic. Okay, so it's a 6 out of 10. I'd give it higher than that, but you know, whatever. And then a 3 out of 4. Do you think these people really played it who gave it a 3 out of 4? No. They didn't. Some of them might have, but most of them didn't. I think a big factor in those 3 games is sort of thumb their nose at the average straight male gamer. Okay, Dragon Age, I will grant you, even though I don't think it's thumbing your nose, but how did Star Wars and how did Suicide Squad thumb their nose at the average male gamer? The average straight male gamer? What did it do? I believe some content creators make hate videos because they they do attract more views. Additionally, people adopt the creators' opinions to feel included in the in-group. I mean, that's what's interesting to me, is if you're an executive, okay, Mrs. Freeze, though, was DLC, but I mean, by the time that came out, I would agree, if the game was littered with a lot of kind of creations of characters that were intentionally, aggressively, as someone said, against the male gaze, I would agree with you. But that wasn't what was sold when this game came out. But sure, when you get to Mrs. Freeze at the 3rd DLC or whatever, yeah, I mean, come on. That was clearly like a let's aggressively go against what the a lot of the gamers want. But that didn't apply in the base game at all. Johnny, you can be sick of it, but be sick of it in the right way. You're just repeating horror. This is the bullshit. Johnny says Suicide Squad on its best day is a 5 out of 10 and people are sick of it. Bitch, you didn't play it. Or if you played it for 5 fucking minutes. People are sick of what? Again, if it was the Dustborn, I would agree with you. If every character in Suicide Squad was clearly designed like the Concord characters to, again, as this one great reviewer mentioned, or someone mentioned, to be aggressively against the male gaze, I would agree with you. But that's not what it was. And you know, you're part of the problem, Johnny. People, you know what I'm sick of? I'm sick of people like you contributing to a narrative based on nothing other than the need to bandwagon and feel included by some fucking internet grifters that you, for some reason, have decided to look up to. I agree, Maverick. People were expecting more from Rocksteady. I mean, I don't think more, but different. I mean, but I understand that point. They were expecting a more of a narrative. Again, I'm not trying to say Suicide Squad deserves a seat at the Game of the Year table at all. At all. I'm just saying that it contributes to a narrative that isn't true. And in that, I take issue. I meant people, says Gravedigger. Thank you, buddy, for 10 months. I appreciate that, buddy. You're glad to push negative narratives in order to pass on games due to their finances and do it guilt-free. Sure. But again, I think these become problematic. Because, okay, so let's just take it. Let's say you're an AI that runs a company. Let's say you are, your job is just to make the company money. And so you don't really care about social issues, and most companies don't. That's most companies. But okay, so you've got this video game, and you are developing it, and you know it is going to go out, and it's going to have to go through the cultural filter. And right now, what goes into that culture, what that cultural filter is, when it comes to video games, is a scenario where you've got a lot of people who are making money and getting by grifting or simply just being negative because it gets clicks. Okay. So then do you say, as that AI, Well, I want to make sure nothing I do in this game will upset those people, right? Because I want it to pass through the filter so it can get to the audience and make money for my company, because I'm an AI and that's all I think about, right? So you're going to do all kinds of shit to that game to let it pass through the filter. Now, on one hand, you could say, well, Jaffe, yes, that's called capitalism. You look at the audience and what they say they want, and you make something for what they want. I would agree with that. But where it gets tricky, though, and like I said, maybe it's always been this way, maybe we or I am just now recognizing it as a problem, is that filter in and of itself that the product has to pass through is not a genuine reflection of anything other than the powers that be them grifters or media or charismatic snake oil salesmen, folding and warping the culture into a perception that will allow them to make more money. So if there was a genuine sense of good and bad and right and wrong and evil and not evil, and the AI had to get the product through that, and the filter was simply made up of that genuineness, I would say that's good, healthy capitalism. But when that filter is literally made up to begin with off people that are warping the culture in order to get money, then this ends up getting hurt, because it's not actually a reflection of anything other than the warped culture filter that it has to pass through. I think that's a real problem. It's a real problem. Shut up, Johnny, you whore. If you were a fucking real fucking man, you'd pick up the phone and call in. Leave it to Jaffe. It's not give it to Jaffe, which is what you typed, you wrote. Give it to Jaffe. Come on, man, get an education. To defend some dog shit games and companies. SMH, how far he's fallen. Bitch, the very mentality, ask anybody who worked with me, this is the mentality I've always had. No one's fallen. I've always been this, okay? You clearly are an easily led sheep, right? Again, if you look at Suicide Squad, like more, or you look at Star Wars Outlaws like Morgan and say, I don't like it, Jaffe, it's no way is it a great game. She will be able to back it up with intelligent, I may not agree with it, but she's a gamer. She will be able to back it up with intelligent reasons. You show up with your no last name, stupid looking, is that Batman? Fucking logo, avatar, horse shit. You got nothing to offer other than negativity. How does that feel? How does that feel? You put nothing out into the world that's good. You don't bring joy to people. You haven't created anything, Johnny. You just sit around, probably sitting on the shitter right now, aren't you? Sitting there, pooping one out, wet farts and everything. People sitting next to you in the bathroom going, Jesus Christ, this guy. He's the loudest shitter on the fucking planet. But here he goes. Johnny's in, boys. Johnny's in the bathroom. Everyone evacuate the building for the next 20 fucking minutes. But he's in there typing on his... Leave it to Jaffe. To defend dog shit games, which I haven't played, but I've been told they're bad. You idiot. Listen to this, Johnny. I want to tell you something. Rack Taxon drops super chat. Thank you. It's his fifth one. You know I appreciate it, buddy. He says, the champion of below average games. No bad games in Jaffe's world. Only misunderstood gems. The GOAT of almost greats. Love you, man. I love you back. There's a lot of games I don't like. Trust me. I talk about them all the time. And I'm not, again, Raxton, you Retaxian, you shithead. I'm not sitting here suggesting to you that these are games of the year. I'm saying that, you know, they're good games and people are missing out. It's 60, 70 bucks? No, maybe not. But you know what? Here's what I'll say in advance, even to Johnny. Even I offer this olive branch to Jonathan. When you can get, and you can now, by the way, you can literally get Suicide Squad right now for $7. It's the cost of a fucking medium-sized pumpkin spice latte. Do yourself a favor. Pick it up. Play it for 3 hours and tell me it's as bad as you thought. I agree. Game of the year? No. No. One of the best action games? No, but it's fun. Now, do you have time for not the best? Probably not. I respect that. Games take a long time. But I'm telling you, Dragon Age is the same. Dragon Age is a lot of fucking fun. But I get it. If you don't want those politics, fine. Take Star Wars Outlaws. Take this fucking thing. Suicide Squad. Listen to this. We got Ludo. Thank you for the super chat, buddy. He says, Jaffe, in the end, what matters? The gamers enjoy and have fun with the games they play. That's all, and this shall lead their own choices on what game to pursue and what game not to pursue. Well, yeah, Ludo, then why even do a show? I agree, and I appreciate the super chat. Yes, end of the day, it doesn't matter, although intellectually, I think it's a fascinating thing to think about. Why people critique and criticize certain games without giving them a shot. But that's fascinating to me. But yes, play whatever the fuck you want to play. It's not like I'm going to go to war over the fact that you don't want to play Suicide Squad. Maybe, but not because it's Suicide Squad. But do I think the underlying aspect is fascinating? Do I think watching in real time this car wreck that is an amplification of negativity on the part of our society because there are lots and lots of money, there are lots and lots of ducats to be made because of it, and we as the recipients of that negativity virus are suffering because of it? I think that does matter. I think that is worth talking about. The individual game Suicide Squad being played more or less is irrelevant. That's a symptom of the bigger problem, Ludo, is what I would say. Where did that thing go? Majority of your audience, says Alex, live in the basement with their parents. What do you expect? Your question. Well, I don't know if that's true, Alex. I don't think that's true. I think most of these people are working people. I didn't play Suicide Squad, says David, because the bad reviews and lack of time, meaning I would focus on games I'm more likely to enjoy. Again, totally fine. Yeah. I get that. I think if you don't have a lot of time and or a lot of money, you're going to only want to play stuff that feels like, hey, everybody's loving this. I'll give it a shot. It looks good. I get that. My issue is not that people didn't play Suicide Squad. My issue is people didn't play it, but they still form an opinion based on no experience at all. That's my problem. I won't vote for the Game Awards. Eddie said, Jaffe, have you voted for the Game Awards? No. I won't, because I haven't played every game in every category. I won't even vote for a single category, because there's not a single category where I've played every game at least 50% of the way through, if not all the way through. And if you're not able to do that, then what's the point of your vote? You're basically voting on what you liked, but you had no experience with any of the other stuff. Right? I mean, that's stupid. Retaxin says, I miss a meeting just to watch Jaffe. I love his sense of humor. He made my day. Good to see you, buddy. It's always good to talk to you. Thank you, bud. I appreciate that. I didn't play all the games in the lineup, but for sure, this is what I'm saying. Uncensored Maverick. How can you type that with a straight face? He says, I didn't play all the games in the lineup for Game of the Year, but for sure, Shadow of the Erd Tree clears them all. You didn't play them. You didn't play them. Come on, man. Come on, man. You're just doing it to piss me off now. Oh, shit. Gina, would you just call into the show? I'm tired of this shit. It's clear I need a co-host right now at this point in the show. Call in. Good live. Damn. Okay. I'm in the basement. I am a parent, says Ken Takers. What does that make me? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, I saw that, Fupy. Elon Musk has already disavowed. He will comment on more future games like that. What a dork. What an idiot this guy is. Go make your rockets, you fucking floozy piece of shit. Yeah, it had Purona. I hate that this has become the show. But here's the deal. I mean, even I'm susceptible to it. Whenever I do shows about, I had a show I was doing called Brain on Games, and I was getting deep into the substance, at least I thought, of Silent Hill 2 and certain demos that are good and why they motivate you to buy. Nobody cares. This is the world. We're all swimming in the shit. Elon Musk disavowed avowed because it had some pronouns in it. Oh no, pronouns, you horrible piece of shit of a father. Disavowing your child. You horrible junk human. I appreciate some of the tech that you have helped fund. God knows you didn't create it, but thank you for funding it. Take a seat. You're done, you fucking socially inept moron, is what I would say to Elon Musk if he were here. I like Brain on Games too, Agent, but the amount of effort that goes into that show compared to the number of people that watch it is just not worth it. It's not that I don't like doing it. I love doing it. I don't know what that means, Steven Johnson. Elon has a gay kid, comma, so I don't understand. Is it so ... I don't understand. Bring up the views on the last one. Which one? You want to see the last Brain on Games review? Yeah, it's like under 1,000 people. Shut up, Uncensored Maverick. What a dumb thing to write, you dummy. Yeah, he died before he could finish typing it. Yeah. Look, let's be clear, because that's another fucking bullshit rinky-dink crap you guys do. Not all of you, but some of you idiots like Johnny. Jaffe has a gay kid, better be careful. Anybody who knows me before I had kids, before my child came out as a trans child, I was as progressive as the day is long. The fact that you think the only reason I can be, or someone can be sympathetic to someone who's different than they are, is because they have to have skin in the game. You think I only care about LGBT rights because I have a trans son, I have a gay brother? Certainly that amplifies it. But it's because I'm not an asshole. And it's because I know enough history to know that American history for sure and human history for sure is riddled with othering of people that eventually are no longer othered. And we look back and go, can you believe we used to treat this group bad just because they were different, and we lied about them and said all this shit about them? I've always been that way. Always. I'm not reading that, Fuby. That's terrible. That's terrible. Anyway. How did it devolve into this? I don't know, because let's go back and look at things to talk about. Let's see what else. I've already talked about Casey Hudson's studio, JB. Basically what I said, if you don't know, he's the guy that did some work on Mass Effect. He may have been the creative director. I'm not trying to belittle his contributions. I don't know what he did, but he was a big Mass Effect guy. And he went and he started a AAA game development company trying to make I think it was like a sci-fi AAA thing. And they shut down recently and said it was just a funding issue. So they've never shipped a game. I could be wrong on this, JB, but I don't. Yeah, so you're saying they did release concept art. Let's take a look at the concept art. I was not aware of that. JB, why am I taking JB? It's not it. Casey Hudson. Concept art. Let's see what comes up. Can I confirm Twisted Metal is getting remade? No. I mean, even if I could or not, I couldn't. I wouldn't, because that wouldn't be my place. But I can assure you, I have heard absolutely nothing about anything like that. There was a Twisted Metal that was getting remade, absolutely, but then it was canceled. So if you're talking about another one, I haven't heard that. Humanoid origin. I mean, you know, concept art's, you know, that's cool, but it just looks sort of, I don't know, it's kind of generic. I like that helmet though. That's a cool helmet. A kind of like retro thing. Let me make it bigger here. But yeah, I mean, it's really difficult to get funding and keep funding, and it's a real risky endeavor. And you know, it's yeah, this was just canceled. Yeah. Starscream says, Jaffe, do you think Elon Musk will save a seat for me on the ship from Earth to Mars? No, but I will tell you that, you know, there is that theory that a lot of these super rich people are basically creating underground bunkers, and they're creating, you know, they know what's coming. I mean, that's probably conspiracy theory. I don't know. Jaffe, what games do you think are the all-timers, strictly aesthetically speaking? Oh man, that's a great question, Movie Maniac, but I would have to really sit and think. I couldn't just immediately snap my fingers. I don't know. Fupy says they had to make a studio instead of just working on a game with good gameplay in a garage. Well, I mean, I think this idea of going, I want to make a AAA game, that is probably over unless it's coming directly from a studio going, we are now funding this AAA game. No one's going to take a pitch from a new studio for a AAA game, for the most part. I think if you go off, though, and you make like an indie game or a AA game, you can probably get funding for that if it's really commercially compelling, sure. Retaxian says, Kratos embodies such a quintessential man's man persona that to most people's minds it seems inconceivable his creator could be a progressive individual. I know, it's crazy. Kratos is awesome in so many ways, but there's more to it than that. Kratos is a character, and I have a lot of affection for that character, but, you know, it's not all there is. Well, yeah, Ravno says, Jaffe, and yet Immortals of Avium exist. Well, not anymore. The studio doesn't exist. That's a great example. AAA, brand new IP, no one, you know, came, people got good reviews, nobody cares. Nobody cares. I am going to do another I Love the Weird episode because I get asked enough about them that maybe people actually do want them. They don't, again, they take a lot of effort, and they don't tend to do as well. And so I'm like, well, you know, what's the investment and what's the return? But I do enjoy them very much. And I've been asked enough about them that I think I should at least try another one. You know, I get asked about them from people who aren't even really members. I got, you know, people on Twitter that don't even come here are like, oh, when are you going to do another one of those shows? I'm like, really? Okay, sure. You know, right. I bet after all the begging, says Mutant, it gets the same. No, I mean, the I Love the Weird does better than the Game on Brain or Brain on Games, but you know, yeah. Lucas says a studio should start from doing indie games and climb up to AAA. I mean, I don't even, yeah, sure, but let me show you something. I don't even think that's necessary, honestly. I think what's necessary is just make a cool fucking game, and eventually the AI and I'm going to show you something really quick. All right, Twisted Sith. And then I do need to go figure out what the fuck today. Well, okay, here's what we're going to do. Let's look at Twitter one more time. Maybe some news is broken that we can cover in today's later actual proper show. This is just the prep. But let's see. Let's go to the topics and see if something new. I'm not doing call-ins on this show, but I'll do call-ins on the other show. Because I'm trying to find topics, guys. But so far, like, this was Zelda's a great game. Nobody's talking about Zelda. Great fucking game. All right, Star Wars Hunters, we might mention that. We talked about that already. Sony's confirmed. Okay, big deal. Witcher stuff. Nolan. What is this? More Rocket League. Yeah, so far this is just kind of the stuff we saw yesterday. Well, hey, thank you, Cantankerous. I appreciate that. You're already a member. Thank you, buddy. He says, here's some ducats for war stories. That's right. Thank you, David Seeger. Well, I like doing these show prep streams, and if you guys like watching them, I'll keep doing them because it lets me kind of, blow out the carbon. I don't know anything about cars. Is that what you do? And get my head in the right space for the show. Yeah, there's not like a lot of. It is Thanksgiving, right? So we're going to be in that zone for a while, but we'll find something to talk about that isn't politics, because I know people get sick of hearing about it. I know, I get it, but let me go back to the question though. Somebody was talking about the AAA start as an indie game, blah blah blah. Check this out. I mean, now this game is not amazing. Jojo D, I don't fucking know. I don't know, Jojo D. I'm a crazy fellow with a crazy brain. I don't know. But I'm glad you're here, buddy. Good to see you. Check this game out. This is a demo called Steel Seed. Now, I am not here to pitch you this game as something it's not even out yet, but I just want to show you the state, though, of indie games or AA games. This is from a studio that did they've made a AA game before, right? So it's not like they've never made a game, but this is sort of where you're at if you don't need to spend a lot of money. There's just a lot of shit that is with Unreal that you're able to kind of get to good enough that most people wouldn't even know. And the challenge with stuff like this, though, is that when you are able to start looking like a AAA game, then it becomes very clear when you're not one if you can't deliver. So it's almost better not to look as good as this. But I'll show you what this. I mean, this is crazy that this is a game from. What I would love, Johnny, is for you to call in. That would make my day. If you want to make my day, Johnny, call in on the Discord. I think that would be a delight for me. That would make me a happy fella. And I know that that's important to you. This is from Storm in a Teacup. They also made this game Close to the Sun, which was like an action-adventure thing. So it's not like they have no chops in making games that look nice. But these guys are not spending, shit tons of money. But, and again, I'm not saying this is a game you need, I think it's, hang on, I'm trying to get this out of my screen 1 second so I can see the game. I would not recommend this as a buy right now. It's not even for sale. But it's close. It comes out soon. But, when is again, you start to recognize, the combat may not look as good as what you would expect. But, you can control the drone. Let's see.
I'm counting on you.
Right? I mean, this is the state of AA and indie games right now. And it looks pretty fucking good. Oh, it's loud. It's too loud. Yeah, hang on. I wasn't prepared to show a game off. Well, it's not AI generated, Addy Pie. And I'm just saying that it's like, it's not like indie games are just these little pixel things anymore. You do start to notice that it is an indie game or not a polished game, because like the combat animation doesn't look great. It's kind of choppy. But it's still, I think that's kind of cool that's where we're at, and it's only going to get better. And I think that is insanely cool when you talk about giving people opportunities to express themselves. You can make a game like this in Fortnite. if you're using Unreal Engine Creator for Fortnite. How do I get down there? Is this the way I should be going? This way? Yes, Ghost of Tsushima looks better. It does. It does look better because it's a polished, complete AAA game. You're right. That game does look better. It's not my point. But, you know, but the point of people out there, if this game could play as with the same level of energy as like, what's the fucking game from Mikami, where she's sliding around and shit. What is that fucking game called? Come on, man. The shooter from Platinum. Great fucking game. I mean, you know, if you could, you know, not Wanted Dead. You know, the game, she's like in the armor and she's sliding around on the war zone and the... Come on, you guys. What is that fucking thing called? Vanquish, right. You know, I mean, it wouldn't be that difficult to kind of get to that. And people are like, I want games like that. It's like, you've got games like that. You just got to look a little bit. But a lot of them just don't have the design chops. You know, there's a game that's out right now from the guy who made Pumpkin Jack, that I don't think is anywhere near as good as Pumpkin Jack, but it looks like basically a Ratchet and Clank ripoff. And you start to recognize when you're ripping off stuff at this visual level that you have to also deliver the other stuff, like the level of gameplay. It's not a jank game, Ravnos. This is certainly not a jank game. It's just, there's nothing about it that's unique enough that I would play this over Stellar Blade. Like, why would you choose this over Stellar Blade? I don't know. So that is kind of the danger if you're making a game like this, if you're trying to compete. If you're trying to compete with this, you better show up with something interesting, which is why maybe lower budget games do it with gameplay, and because that they can actually compete with. Could be better written. What's the price? It's not for sale yet. It's just a demo. It's just a demo. So anyway, I just wanted to show you that. Yeah, the button input thing I didn't like. That's when I actually stopped playing the demo, because the button input was like, okay, don't, because it's an instant fail. And I was like, don't fucking give me that shit. Let me kill this real quick. All right, fellas. Well, there we go. That's the prep show. I appreciate you joining me. We got a couple of good things. So I'm gonna continue to try to do my best to. I don't know. I don't want to keep getting into the culture war stuff. It's just that, you know, it's kind of, I don't know, right? We should stop talking about that, right? I don't know. Should you buy Suicide Squad for $15? Yeah. You know, I think you can get it for $7. I know you're waiting. I'm not taking calls right now, Alex. I'll take calls on the afternoon show. I already said that. Why did I stop playing Wukong? I got busy. Yeah, Ravnos, you're right. It's the same argument over and over. I just got busy, and there were other things to play, and I really liked it. But I think for me, it was intimidating because I knew it was going to get really hard, and it was already getting difficult enough that I could barely hang in there, and I hadn't even finished the second level world, whatever it is. And so I think for me, it was just like, I'll go on to these other games. So I do think, I mean, I would love to get back into it, but I don't imagine I'm going to, because there's always going to be something else to play. Right now, I am finding myself ping-ponging back and forth between Dragon Age, Stalker 2, and Dragon Age, Stalker 2, and the Star Wars stuff. Yeah, I hear you, Kyle. Maybe today, if I have time, I'm going to do my very best to give you guys a show today, whatever it is, whether it's an I Love the Weird or it's a Gabbin' and Games, that is not culture stuff. I'm just going to do even if it's just we're going to watch 2 or 3 big trailers and let's take them apart and let's figure out what's cool about them and bad about them and exciting about them. I'm with you. I don't want to be that guy. It's just that I'm very passionate about the subject and it pisses me off, but I'm not interested in that. And I know that it gets repetitive and I don't want to build a show on the bones of that. So maybe this is in the morning shows, I can just kind of rave and rage and do all that shit. And then in the afternoon, it's out of my system. So we'll do a proper show. So what time is it right now? It's noon here in California. I'm going to eat. I'm going to prep a show, and we'll have I'll look at that, Ravnos. We'll do a proper show later this afternoon around 4:30. So, and if you guys can convince Gina to call in, I'm so tired of this. Gina, what is the problem? You know people like to hear from you. You know I like to talk to you. You have great experience in the industry. We could fly this to the moon, my tiny friend. And yet, no, I understand. Yeah, I ain't going to call in. What are you, the Hawk 2 girl, whatever the fuck her name? You're not awkward, you moron. God. Jaffe, if you could only choose one to bring to the movies, who would it be? Would it be... What? Oh, into the movies. Oh, K-Vess. K-Vess is a good character. Yeah, Gina's not coming on until I change the setup. She's like, I don't like your lighting. I did watch Laura Fryer, and I talked about it on yesterday's show, actually. Ludo played Stalker, and he plugged it into the monitor. What? I don't understand. All right. You can call in, Alex. You just can't call in right now. Because what is it going to be? What do you want to talk about? I love your Prince stories. What do you want to talk about? You know, you want to talk about Call of Duty? I mean, what do you want to talk about? Maybe if you said, oh, Jaffe, Ludo and I want to talk to you about the emergent properties in AI as they relate to storytelling. Okay. Call in this afternoon. We'll talk about Stalker 2. Okay? Okay? All right, you guys, be well, be safe. Thank you for hanging out with me and helping me prep this fucking show. And seriously, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you soon. Bye, everybody. See ya.